Hi everyone, some Gamer Dude here. So a friend of mine was generous enough to procure me both of the Forceful Demo Decks, the ones released shortly before Alice Origins 4. He thought I'd like them because they're both characters and themes I like. I haven't mentioned this before, but I did play a little bit of Grim Cluster format, and I played a Christie Elf mono green deck in that. I quite enjoy mono and only two colour decks in most games. I like simplicity. Reiya, I never actually got a chance to have a ruler, so he thought I might like that. When he gave them to me, he said I should make a video about it, so here I am, and I hope this video is to his liking. There was a few sheets of paper to teach people how to play the game with this. There's actually more than I expected. You've got the glossary. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same as in the current, well, the Alice Origins starter decks, I should say. What is interesting, though, is we have a new manual. And I seem to remember this was the case, but it's just really curious that they'd print a new manual, completely new, went in and changed all the art assets and the text and whatnot because it looks a lot better when they're not actually going to make any starter decks, as far as we know, for the new cluster. That will be the first cluster to actually use these card frames. This will also be a good chance for us to look at the new card frames in person. I've only just got my Alice Origins 4 cards on the same day. I haven't really had a chance to fully look through them because I've been a tad on the busy side. So there's also a mat. I'm curious whether this is a two-player mat. Seems to be. Might be quite big then. Oh. Look, no, it's one-sided. Oh, it's interesting that only looked like there was only one field for both players. It's a bit interesting, but I guess considering these are free and they're printing them at cost to help promote the game, and everyone says I Spy doesn't do anything, I guess some things have to be omitted for cost reasons. So the two decks come in little pouches. They're just resellable pouches. We'll look at Christie first, who is on the Helsing side. I'm surprised they've actually kept that. I haven't actually looked through these properly yet, even online. So I know the cards are very basic, but I don't remember if they're keeping to Christie on one side, Helsing on the other, because that's something that's actually been changed recently. I don't think we really have rulers that change character or have really confusing things like Grim and Valhalla Cluster like that anymore. So I caught it this time. I will get a better backdrop eventually. Why is it wanting to fall over? Seems like it's not really balanced very well. So here's Christie. Sorry, Helsing. So I can get better focus. Pursuer of Vampires, Helsing. That text is really hard to come up on the screen, so well, it does come up blurry. In hand, it's actually not that bad, but on camera, it's really hard to read. This would be the full art, but just non-foiled. We'll just put the deck to the side, face down for now, because I want to just go to the... Yeah, it's Christie. It's Christie to Helsing. Let's see. Judgment, that's a... Is that even any easier? Yeah, that's a little easier to read. Card's very smooth. So, Judgment of 4, which I think is pretty much the same as our original, and just Energize, which is now a mechanic. Someone may have to comment, but I think YouTube deleted it recently, that the keywords on the newer cards are, well, they're hard to read. Kind of disagree with that. I think they just don't pop properly. They fade into the text, and they don't stand out to make themselves look any different. I will say, in person, the font size is not a problem. I'd say, judging from my own printouts for my own work, it oh geez, we're not really having much luck with the light and the focus. I'd say it's around a 7.5 font, maybe 7. I think 7 fonts seems about right. I think this kind of proves Mark Rosewater that you shouldn't go below 7.5, but I could imagine some people that have bad eyes would not be able to read that easily. What I do find is hard to read is the race at the top of the card. I forget what it's called in Force of Will. The elf. That is, it's legible, but it's not the easiest. What I think is actually interesting is the name and the race are the way that the text really should be. White with a black outline instead of black with a white outline. So on the back, and as I said, it's really, really smooth. I'm curious. Yeah, the cards have a normal back, but are they all this glossy? Yeah, they're all this glossy. It's actually really nice to feel. She just says, again, camera does not like this. Let's see if we go down, if it helps any. Does not the... Geez, the full arts are hard to read on the camera, but not so much in real life. Swiftness, which has reminder text, good. Enter, return target resonated to its owner's hand, which is fine. 12 with swiftness for 4, fine, she's fine. She's actually pretty good for learning in my opinion. Let's go into the actual deck. All of this is reused art, but I think it's new effects and names. That's a 7 cost elf, guys. Charming Elf saying it's 12 for 3 wind and a 4. Enter, target resonate against +15 until end of turn. Yeah, I'd say that's worth 7. I'm pretty sure these cards are not legal in formats. They do feel a little bit softer than a normal card. The one thing I will say is, though, I did really think actually, it's kind of weird. The frame looks a bit more 90s to me. Not so much their design ethos, but the bright colors and the blacks. That actually stands out to me. I'd actually would have preferred the border to go fully. I know some people wouldn't like that, and accentuate the bright colors a bit more. I think that looks nice. Of course, that card is thoroughly unplayable, and we only get 1. So, Elder Elf Nutty. Okay. A 6/6 for 2. So, green and 1. So, wind and 1. Enter, target resonate against +2/+2 until end of turn. Yep, we get 3 of those. Again, these aren't meant to be playable, they're just for demo. 5-drop, Elvish Archer Jordan. I wonder if she's named after the guy that used to work at Force of Wilco. Swiftness, 10/10, sorry, 1,000 for 5, including 2 wind. So 2 of her. Elvish Commander Danielle, 1,000 for 4. Yep, actually, these cards seem better balanced than the real cards. Funny that. Now, I do know that's a reuse of art from CFC. Flower Elf Bottle Fairy, 4/4 for 1. Just a vanilla. Gigantic Elf Rongi, a 15/15 for 6. Hasty Elf Kina, an 8/8 for 3, including a wind. Again, it keeps going blurry. I don't know what's wrong with my camera recently. My phone. Enter, put the top card of your Magic Stone deck onto the field rested. That's actually close to being decently playable normally. I'm just saying that's... If I was running Wind currently, well, actually I am, but if I was running something that wasn't running the Rezard package, I'd probably run that. I do not think 3 for a Stone Ramp is bad at all. I would run that. They could print that normally. I'm just saying. They could print that normally. Because, what's the name? Hansel. Or was it Gretel? No, it'd be Gretel. Pretty sure it was Gretel. Might be Hansel. I forget. There was a Grim Cluster card that cost 2 and did the exact same effect. Added additional effects. But it's banned in Wanderer. I think it costing 1 more, it'd be perfectly fine. You could print this. So we get 3 of that. Hidden Elven Village Circulus. It's 2 cost. Elves Control gain +2/+2 edition. I'm already kind of used to the new template, the new frame, sorry. It just doesn't look like Force of Will. We're so far away. I actually like it. I just don't like it as Force of Will, but if that makes sense. Again, the bright colors and the blacks really, they go with my tastes. I've said before that I really like the Dragon Ball GT template. It does the exact same thing. I love this because it does the same deal. The darks and the brights, the contrast, I really like that. I just don't like it as Force of Will. And actually, I do not like the Magic the Gathering style extended art thing. I just would actually think this would be better off with a standard frame. I also think the will cost at the top should have been the same as it was before. I think the way Lapis Costa did it was perfectly fine. So we get 2 of that. 2 copies of Typhoon. Return target resonator with flying to its owner's hand. 2 costs for that effect. Oh wow, that is genuinely bad. But again, demo deck. So that must mean that the other deck has flyers. Get 3 of that. Winds of Empowerment. 1 cost. I don't think there's any quick cast in here, which is interesting. I wonder if the other deck has any quick cast. Target J Resonator gains +6/+6 until end of turn. For 1, that's... Yeah, it doesn't give any effects. If you just wanted Brute Strength, I don't think that's unplayable. I really don't. It's not something that would make the cut in most people's decks, but I don't think it's unplayable. 6/6 for a J Resonator for 1 is not bad. And then we get... Jeez, these cards are slippery. How many stones? Should be about 7 because some things need 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exactly 7. Okay. And it's a nice art. It's definitely reused art. I've seen that quite a few times before, but it is nice art. So there's the Christie deck. Actually, I just want to check something. I'm pretty sure these arts have been used. I'm pretty sure they're from Lapis Cluster, actually. I'd have to check up. That might actually be the one from... Oh, CFC. I'd have to check it up. But yeah. I am happy that they didn't do Christie, even though she's not legal. So let's get into the Reiya deck. This time I'll open it before we get onto the camera. So we'll just get to the ruler first. Judgment cost of 4, so it's the exact same. Energize, and it's a nice picture of Reiya, the vampire princess. I'm not sure if I like the dark purple used here. I think I'd like a more vibrant purple. I think a more vibrant purple with the blacks would stand out better. I'd just go really cheesy now and make everything bright colours just to make it pop. Because you're obviously going for a younger audience with the arts here, or something, people older that remember the design choices of bright colours on black. So her J-Ruler side is Princess of the Dark Reiya. She's a vampire. What was she on this side? Vampire. And Christie was an elf on both? Yeah. So swiftness, so they have the same stats, same entry ability. And flying, so there's your flyer. Although she can't be returned to hand, guys. Swiftness and flying, that's actually not that bad for a demo deck. Yeah, of course you wouldn't use it if she was legal, but she's not as bad as she could be, really. 3 costs for, 4 for a 12/12 swiftness flying. I don't think that's terrible. I mean, it's not, if you're playing an older format, it would be perfectly fine, really. So let's get on. Yeah, that is reused art. Aiko the Vampire Knights. Aiko, I'm not sure. It's a 4 cost 10/10 vanilla. We get 3 of those. Alucardia, the Vampire Castle. Now, that's reused art, and it's just a toned-down version of the Tribal Vampire edition from Grim Cluster. There you go, because the original one had other effects too. Ah, there's the flyer, Derek. Where's your van, Derek? Are you going to sell some stuff off the back of a van? Flying 6/6 for 2. Perfectly fine. Reiya Demo Deck. I think that's pretty good. We get 3 of those. Dextia, the Masquerade. That's Grim, isn't it? 7 cost. Enter. Deals 1,000 damage to target player. 12. Yeah, not playable at 7, but just straight up deal that much damage to a player. That's not the most terrible thing in the world. Get one of that. That's Camilla, the second copy of her. 5 cost. Elena, the Vampire Mistress. 10/10 with flying. Again, perfect fun for a demo deck. I think these cards are very much how I'm doing demos. And whatnot. Flashes of Death. Destroy target resonator for 3. I'm really surprised there's no quick cast cards in here, because I really think, because this is basically just murder, isn't it? I think they probably should have quick cast. I get why they don't, because generally people get a bit shirty about instant speed stuff when they're starting, but I think it would have been fine. You got to throw them in. Gerwig, the Blinding Vampire. It's a 1 cost 4/4 vanilla. Get 3 of those. Don't recognize the art. Lazarus, the Vampire Duke. 15/15 for 6. Again, perfectly fine. For what this is that? I don't recognize that art. It's a 3 cost. Chi, the Vampire Wizard, I guess. Looks Chinese to me. Enter, well, the name, I mean, QI. Probably be pronounced Chi. Enter, deal 600 damage to target resonator. 8/8 for 3. Yep. It's nice. Requiem of the Soul. Put target resonator from your graveyard to your hand. 1 black to cast. Nice art. I would actually play that. I was making a video, I don't know if it'll be up by the time this one goes up, on Rinka. Considering that you kind of lose both when she dies, because, well, her and the axe. I want something to return cards from the graveyard to hand. This is one of them. And then 7 Darkness Magic Stones. Well, I actually think these demo decks are quite nice. I think they did a pretty good job at it. I think they're just basic enough to teach people without being, oh my god, boring. But if I give one critique, I think they probably could have quick cast cards in them. The frame, the new one, is not as honestly bad as it looked at start. I just kind of wish that the cards were all more like the wind ones. The darkness ones are a bit too dark for me, at least in my opinion. The frame just isn't vibrant enough. I kind of wish there was more black on the cards to contrast with the bright colors, and more of the bright colors. But I get they want to keep the text box as big as possible, because they're expecting that, well, actually I should check Alice Origins 4, because there might be a lot of cards with a lot of text in there. But anyway, I am happy that, and very thankful that he got these demo decks for me. I do really appreciate them, and I think they're really nice. I might actually use them for their intended purposes at some point. As I said, I think for their intended purpose, they're perfectly fine. I think they did a pretty decent job. I think these are a lot more appealing than the old Peter Pan Captain Hook decks. I like them going back to their own characters and doing things with that. I think that's probably for the best. I find the continuous story, fairy story and mythology thing, what is Forceful's identity is to a certain point, I kind of prefer their own characters. I wish they'd do more of them. And I wish they'd stick to them. Anyway, I don't have much else to say. It's going on how long I've been recording. Nearly 20 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed the video. You might not be able to get these demo decks now, but if you know how to play Forcible, you don't really need them. And chances are you could make up something very similar to them. But who knows, if you do really want them, you could probably get your locals to order the set of decks. I believe they come with 4 sets each. But remember their intended purpose, so do try to... Remember, leave some for new players, guys. They're intended to be given to new players to help them learn. I said, I wasn't greedy, I did not take a full set. And he is trying to give them out to new people to get them interested. So, that's all I really have to say for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.